I checked the house. Nothing left behind. Bag packed. I told my wife I'd park the company car at the airport. It was still at the office. I retired at 45. Took a smaller pension. Stock options made up the rest. No taxes, bigger checks. Moved the money quietly. Last Friday, I cashed out. Final paycheck. Vacation pay. $850,000 in stock. Waited until today to deposit. Not joint property. I gave away the suits, kept one. Sold or dumped the rest. Moved where it's cheaper. Rented a U-Haul under my uncle's name. Paid cash. Left the West Coast. Left the job. Left my wife. I needed space. She hated the farm I still owned. That helped. Married a snob, should have seen it. Now I did. The farm stayed mine. The rentals built me a buffer. I'd fix tractors instead of managing factories. The old house was ready enough. I called Kendra. Told her I'd be gone before she got back. I'm eager to be home, she said. The party was set. Daughters and sons-in-law would arrive early. Kendra's boss and his wife were coming too. She said they'd come, my daughter said. They didn't know the real reason. 50 guests, late birthday. She said she missed the first one for work. I knew better. I left them a video. Play it at the end, I said. Use the patio TV. I texted David, my son-in-law, my new number and email. He worked with me. He guessed the affair. Wasn't sure until I showed him the file. Wipe your info, he said. Close your Facebook. Done. When Kendra's plane took off, he added, let her guess, she deserves it. She'd still get half. I'd still be fine. I sent the numbers to my lawyer. I could buy a new place, cash to spare. I tossed my phone in the kitchen trash. No one would notice until after the party. Leaving California was easy. Heading back to South Dakota felt right. No more than 10 people would miss me. I smiled, bought a new phone, new number, made one call. This is the new number, I'm headed out. Got it, she said. I shut off the phone to save the battery. The drive east would be long, but the mid-March roads would be empty. Spring was coming, the land would show it. Kendra and I met at an Aerosmith concert. She was California-born, I was from out of state. We married a year later, same day, same date my parents flew in. I worked R&D. She did importing and marketing. We stayed at it for years. Even now, Kendra could still turn heads. Same figure as when we met. Knew how to dress. I didn't age as well, the usual gut and gray. Kendra was eager to get home. 2 weeks gone with her boss and lover, Eric Hopper. She pitied Colin, her husband, for missing the party. But these things happened. Busy lives. Eric had been a break. The heat was fun, but she preferred routine. Twice a week love. Steady, safe. The jet landed. Kendra drove home, still thinking about the trip. The surprise hit her fast. Family packed the house. Daughters, sons-in-law, friends, even co-workers. Then she spotted Eric and his wife. Who invited them? She asked. Her oldest smiled. I did. He brags about you. His wife wanted to meet you. Kendra glowed. Proud. Special. At 8 p.m., the daughters took the stage. Mom, the twins said. Dad didn't want to miss it. He made you something. They turned on the big patio TV, pressed play. The room fell quiet. My voice filled the air. Happy birthday, dear, I began with a half smile. People chuckled. Kendra grinned, sitting front and center. I figured since I couldn't be there tonight, I'd still drop by, I said. It's been a big year. Our first grandson. Loud little guy, got your eyes. Our last daughter finally tied the knot. We made it to another anniversary. Hell. We even started planning a second honeymoon, just like old times. I leaned forward on the screen, eyes steady. Honestly, I thought we were making it back to where we started, before life got complicated. Before we became roommates pretending to be lovers. Some people in the crowd shifted in their seats. But then, my tone dropped. I came back from that overseas trip and found something on our security feed. The projector cut to security footage. No warning, no sugarcoating. Kendra and our daughters, right on that same patio, wine glasses in hand, laughing like teenagers. Except they weren't talking about recipe swaps. The party went dead silent. The only sound was the playback. They were bragging about their lovers, how easy it was to lie, how stupid their husbands were for believing them. They named names, hotels, excuses they fed their spouses. Kendra? She was the ringleader. She even joked about searching for her next one, like she was shopping for shoes. The husbands in the crowd stared. Some blinked like they'd been slapped. One of the sons-in-law rubbed his temples. Back on the screen, I leaned back in the chair, cool and collected. Wild, huh? I said. At first, I couldn't believe it either. So I did what anyone would do. I dug deeper. The second clip played. Kendra and her boss, Eric Hopper, Vancouver. Long beach walks without clothes. One hotel room, one double bed. Sunset dinners. Horse carriage rides through Stanley Park like they were newlyweds. A private boat cruise around the cove. Some guests covered their mouths. A few wives avoided eye contact with their husbands. The video ended. I came back on screen, leaned closer. Kendra, I said slowly, was this your birthday present to yourself? A little romantic getaway with Eric? I'm not going to say I know what happened every night, but I sure as hell know there was only one bed. I turned my head slightly in the video. And to my sons-in-law watching this, I let the words hang. You might want to have a talk with your wives tonight. I sure wish someone had warned me. You could feel the oxygen leaving the patio. I stared straight into the camera. No blinking. No mercy. Kendra, if you were that miserable, you could have just asked for a divorce, but you chose this year after year. So tell me, is Eric paying you for the overtime? Or is that just a fringe benefit? I shrugged. Just curious. The screen faded to black. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. I later heard Kendra and our daughters were crying. I wasn't sure if it was guilt or just shock. I doubted they cared about me. The best part? Eric Hopper's wife, Karen, handed them both divorce papers. Word is, she enjoyed it, slapped Kendra and called her some nasty names. Now, both Kendra and Eric were getting dumped. Facing the crowd made it worse. I wondered if they even thought about the mess they'd made. Eric stood frozen. He never thought he'd get caught, let alone in front of his wife. He figured Karen didn't suspect a thing. Then it hit him. She was my lawyer. Kendra had wrecked more than just our marriage. 5 marriages fell that night. My 3 sons-in-law told their wives not to come home until they were ready to be honest. Even with looser morals these days, some lines still matter. Even in California. Sad it took this to teach them. I drove until I got tired, pulled into a roadside motel, parked where the office could see me. I checked in, grabbed my suitcase and new phone, and went to my room. After a shower, I lay down and charged the phone. Curiosity got me. I checked for messages. There was one. Home from the party. Call me. I dialed. Karen picked up fast. Hey, darling, I said. How'd it go? Better than we hoped, Karen said. About 50 people showed up. Everyone was having a great time for hours. Kendra was loving it, playing Queen Bee. Then your daughters played the video. They never saw it coming. She chuckled. Thanks to you, I picked up 3 new clients right there. She took a breath. Right after the video, they all realized they forgot to turn off the security cameras. The best part? All 4 of them said, oh crap, we're screwed, in perfect sync. The crowd heard it loud and clear. Karen laughed. Your daughters' faces said it all. And then came the clip of our cheating spouses on their little getaway. There was no denying it. When I served them, people scattered like someone yelled to fire. Your sons-in-law pulled me aside, she added. Asked if I was a divorce lawyer. I said yes. I took 3 retainers before the night was over. Looks like your daughters might be facing divorces too. I left Eric at the party and drove his car home. Karen sounded pleased. Did they try to call me? I asked. After most people left, your wife found your phone ringing in the trash. That hit her harder than anything you could have said. It told them you were done. She paused. Eric just stood there, silent, thinking he was careful. Poor guy never saw it coming, I grinned. 6 months to go. I don't regret checking those security cameras. Without that, I wouldn't have met you. Maybe Kendra will settle without a fight. Still want to liquidate everything? Karen asked. Unless she buys me out, I said. With people fleeing California, it might work out better. Either way, she'll panic tomorrow when she learns you've left your firm. Karen let out a breath. I'm listing the practice tomorrow. I already told my sister and her husband you're on your way. He's eager to meet you. He still remembers you helped him land that tractor dealership. She paused again. This is just the start. I wonder if they'll still be smiling when it's done. I gave my answer and hung up. Kendra stood there, holding her husband's phone. She wanted to tell him Eric meant nothing and that their daughters were his. But it hit her. He no longer cared. This was his way of showing the world he was done. Her lies caused this. The fun, the thrill, the secret flings. None of it was worth the price now. There was no fixing it. Loy was still a small town. People forgive, but they don't forget. Whispers would follow her for years. Colin's message was clear. He cut them out of his life, at least for now. Maybe she hoped he'd forgive her again, like he always did. But this time felt different. Kendra knew she never planned this mess. It crept in slowly. Being modern, she blamed others, never herself. She told herself no one was getting hurt. After getting away with it once, she didn't stop. Eric was actually the third. She never thought she'd get caught. Busy careers kept her and Colin distracted. But her own carelessness tipped him off. Now, even her daughters were paying the price. Karen and I grew up less than 20 miles apart, but never crossed paths. I was out of school before she started. When I first booked an appointment, it was just to ask about divorce. By chance, she took my case. When I showed her the video, she froze. The man on the tape was likely her husband. We checked. Her Facebook confirmed it. That day, we both knew it was over. We talked for hours about ethics, betrayal, and what came next. We agreed to work together. It started as lawyer and client, but slowly we helped each other heal. It turned into friendship. We weren't looking for love. We just needed someone who understood. Sharing stories about growing up nearby, laughing about places we both knew, brought us closer. Last week, we admitted it had become more. We agreed to keep it simple, nothing more, until the divorces were final. 12 days ago, right after I said goodbye to Kendra, Karen called. She had just told her daughters about Eric, but they didn't believe her. "Is your oldest still there?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "Let me talk to her," I said. When her daughter picked up, I said, "Your mother is my lawyer. I have proof." I didn't know who she was when I hired her. Not until she saw my video did we realize we had the same problem. Please look at the proof before you judge. Half an hour later, Karen's daughters came to my place. I showed them how the house's security system worked. Outside cameras could be turned off before entering, but inside cameras stayed on unless shut off. I wanted them to get it before watching the clip. I played the video. They saw and heard Kendra and my daughters talk openly. Then came the worst part. Hearing their father's private talk with my wife, it hit them hard. "This is what your mom saw," I said. "She couldn't tell you because of ethics. Right now, your dad and my wife are on their fake trip." I got people getting more proof. When Kendra returns, she'll be served. We had a long talk about vows and trust. I told them forgiveness was easy, but rebuilding trust was not. I shared how I feared my daughters were copying their mother's example. Kendra herself admitted the behavior had gone on for years. The girls understood that this wasn't just about broken vows. It shattered the way we all saw our families. Then Meadow, the younger one, said something sharp. "If they really respected you, they wouldn't have done this." Later, I called Karen to share what happened. She told me, "They actually opened up. Amber said you reminded her of her grandpa. Simple words, big lessons." Karen and I both realized we were longing for a simpler life, away from the noise, the rush, and the lies, the life we had left behind. The next morning, I hit the road again, back on the interstate. I planned to be in northern Utah by nightfall. I took my time, stopped to see places I'd always passed by. Strangely, I felt calm. That night, after checking into an inn, I found an email from David, my oldest son-in-law, asking me to call. He left his number. I called. "Hey, David." "Hey, Dad, glad you called," he said. "Where are you?" "On the road, licking my wounds," I said with a dry laugh. He chuckled. "I'll pass that on." "It's been wild. Kendra showed up at the office demanding to know where you were, said she wanted to patch things up. When she learned you'd retired, they called me. I told her you'd moved. She called me a liar and started asking where your checks go. I had to call security. I shouldn't have laughed, but I did," he went on. "It gets better. Carrie called. Kendra got fired. Right after Eric got served with your alienation of affection suit, too. $5 million. Kendra had to call a cab home. Now she's lawyering up," David added. "Carrie wants to come home to see our son. I told her I'm not doing anything until I know he's mine. If she doesn't like it, she can sue." "She says she hasn't cheated since you married," I said. "Not what she said in that video," he replied. "At least they're leaving you alone," I said. "Honestly, I'm enjoying this trip. Best thing I've done in years. The question is, are you really divorcing her?" David sighed. The twins grabbed their stuff and moved in with Kendra. Carrie's staying there too. No one else wants to see them. As for divorce, if the kid's not mine, I'm done. Truth is, I think I bought a lie. Carrie showed me what she wanted me to see. I've had 6 months to think. I know what I can and can't live with. Take your time, Dad. "I am," I said. I'm starting fresh. The new place is cheaper, quieter, and I've got a small consulting gig if I want it. No ties, no suits. You'll be missed, David said. People here respected you. You'd tell them the truth, even when it hurt. Is this your new number? It is. Keep it between us for now. And one more thing. If Kendra asks, tell her she's free to go back to one of her other friends. She's treated me like the backup plan for years. What I didn't know. David recorded the call and sent it to my wife and daughters. Kendra wasn't happy. She thought I had no right to advise him, but my daughters started seeing the cost of living like their mother. Their husbands wanted distance. Even they were pulling away from her. Later, I called Karen. She sounded upbeat. The firm was busy. 5 new divorce cases, thanks to Kendra's birthday party. Turns out, a couple more of Kendra's old flings were exposed. Karen mentioned Kendra's firing, too. Eric's trying to fix it, Karen said, but the board already spoke to me. They want me back. Promoted. He'll be demoted. He used company funds for his little trips. Karen told her daughter she was moving back to South Dakota. If you want to stay here, you'll need to live with your father or find your own place. I want a simpler life, she said. Meadow asked, Is it because you love Colin? I do, Karen said, but nothing's happened yet. Meadow smiled. I hope it makes you feel young again. It does, Karen said. You're old enough now. Make better choices than we did. As I drove east, I knew Kendra would have a hard time finding another man like me. The story was too public, too raw. I wondered how long it would take her to realize what she'd lost. I rolled into town just past noon, tired as hell after 3 long days behind the wheel. Dust still caked on my truck from every back road I'd hit. I found this little diner I remembered from when I was a kid. Hadn't changed a bit. Same cracked leather booths, same faded photos on the wall, probably even the same waitress. I slid into a booth and ordered a burger, fries, and the strongest coffee they had. I was halfway through my second cup, staring out the window, when I heard a familiar voice behind me. Son of a witch, is that you? I turned, and sure enough, there was old Colin White, strutting in like he owned the place. He looked older, sure, but still tough as leather. Uncle John, I said with a grin, getting up to shake his hand. Man, you're a sight for sore eyes. He chuckled and slid into the booth across from me. Good to see you too, son. You're looking good. Little road-worn, but good. I laughed. Thanks. Been a hell of a drive. He glanced around, like checking to see if anyone else from the past might show up. So, where's your aunt? I asked. Ah, she's back at the house with the girls, cleaning up, getting things ready. Place needed some love. I patched a few leaky pipes this morning. Nothing serious. Fridge is humming again. Stove's alive. Floors got scrubbed. Not bad, considering how long it sat. He leaned back. You'll probably want to rip half of it out and put in all that fancy modern stuff. I shook my head. We'll see. Might keep some of the old charm. He smirked. That's the spirit. Hey, I said, waving the waitress over. Order whatever you want. Lunch is on me. Well now, he said, grinning like a kid. Guess I'll make it count. I sipped my coffee, feeling something I hadn't felt in a while, like I was really home. Before heading to my old home, I stopped at the local grocery store. Prices were way lower than I remembered. I filled 2 carts. At checkout, I realized the cashier and I had gone to school together. We caught up while she rang me out. When I pulled up to the house, it looked better than I expected. My aunt and cousins came out, helped me unload, and stayed for coffee. Once they left, I took a good look around. Uncle John was right. The place needed work. I called him for contractor names. 2 hours later, he showed up with a crew. Gave me time to unpack. After the walkthrough, it was clear. Cheaper to build new. The house needed all new wiring and plumbing. The barn, though, was solid. New roof, fresh paint. I'd turn it into my shop for tractor and equipment repairs. That night, I called Karen and gave her the update. We agreed on a simple 1-floor home with a cold cellar, a crawl space, and double insulation for winter. I promised to visit her brother-in-law's dealership the next day. The next morning, I called the contractor. He said he'd bring over some plans after work. I returned the rental truck, then went to a dealership and bought a used Ford pickup with low miles, got it insured, and plated before dropping off the rental. At the bank, I made a deposit, grabbed some checks, and noticed how cheap gas was. I stopped by Karen's brother's place, who turned out to be an old classmate. He offered me a job on the spot. I told him about my consulting deal on the farm. He grinned and teased me about Karen, said he never understood her first husband. I told him I didn't either. The contractor and I struck a deal for a 4-bedroom house with a 2-car garage behind the old house. New septic, gas heating, gas stove, backup generator, open floor plan, and a mudroom with garage access. The divorce settlement would cover it. Later, I updated Karen. She was glad I'd met her brother. Just after David called. "Kendra hired a private firm to find you," he said. "She still thinks you two can work it out." "There's nothing to fix," I said. "She'd just do it again." David sighed. "Isn't it funny how smart people can't see the simple things? No wonder the government's a mess." "She doesn't think she did anything wrong," I said. "She thinks I just need to accept it. She's only sorry she got caught." David said, "I'm starting to see the same in Carrie. I might need to walk away too. If nothing changes, I will. Push for counseling," I suggested, "with someone who won't just nod along. It might open her eyes." "Yeah," David said. "If not, I'll move on." I threw myself into barn work. Tearing out the stalls was tough, but I liked it. After years behind a desk, using my hands again felt good. Thursday night, Karen called. "My girls thought you needed cheering up," she said. "They told my brother about our divorces, not knowing he's known for months. Meadow told him how you found out about their dad, how they met you, and how you helped him get the dealership years ago. Turns out he owes you a lot. They found out you moved back to run the family farm. They talked about us for an hour. They were shocked he approves of us. Think they'll keep it quiet?" I asked. "They will now," Karen said. "After what they did, they won't say a word." "What did they do?" I asked. "They booked me a flight. Use my card," Karen laughed. "I get in Friday night. They told me, 'Start living the dream, Mom. You both deserve it.'" I waited with roses, feeling like a kid again. Karen arrived, simple and natural. Jeans, yellow blouse, denim jacket. She smiled. I smiled. It felt right. She hadn't eaten, so we grabbed her bag and went to Ruby Tuesdays. Her brother and sister-in-law were waiting. By the end of dinner, Karen agreed to be his lawyer when she moved back. The house looked just as I remembered. Karen lit up when she stepped inside. We had beer, played old records, Dean, Sammy, Sinatra, and sat close on the couch. We took it slow. Meanwhile, Kendra was spinning. No trace of me. No flights, rentals, cards, nothing. Even the private eyes came up empty. My lawyer kept asking for hers, but she hadn't hired one. She still thought she could fix it. She didn't even remember my relatives. They never mattered to her. The daughters were uneasy. I had always called. Now only David knew where I was. He wasn't sharing. When Carrie pressed him, he laughed. It wasn't the reaction she expected. Kendra blamed me, said I was breaking the family, said I wasn't doing what I should. What she meant was, I wasn't obeying. While she stewed, Karen and I watched the sunrise, coffee in hand. "This," Karen said, "gives you strength." I took her hand. No words needed. "I feel like myself again," I said. Karen smiled. "I saw it last night." I nodded. "It's quiet here, feels real. We didn't rush, we didn't need to. I met her parents. Her dad put me to work." 4 hours later, the old tractor ran smooth. Karen watched me clean up, smiling the whole time. "Mudrooms," I said, thinking of my mom. "So we don't wreck the floors." Her dad chuckled. "Shop would have taken a week. You fixed it today." Her mom glowed. Karen was coming home. Seeing her off Sunday hurt, but it was a good start. 2 months had passed. Things were moving. Kendra finally hired a lawyer. The court approved a 50-50th split. Karen's husband was still dragging his feet, trying to hold on to every dime. David and Carrie were in counseling, since the baby was his, making slow progress. Carrie was starting to see things differently. Little Colin was growing fast. I looked forward to seeing him again. Kendra, Faith, and Hope were all shaken. Their ex-husbands told them flat out they couldn't trust them again. I couldn't blame them. Even Kendra's bond with the girls was fractured now. I flew back to LA to test the company's new model. 2 weeks of hard testing before it could go into production. The company booked me into a Hampton Inn. That night, I walked into the hotel restaurant and spotted Amber and Karen. Amber waved me over. "Mama, don't get mad," Amber said, scooting over. I invited a friend. Karen raised an eyebrow. "What are you up to?" Amber grinned. "Meadow and I figured you'd like to see him." Karen turned, saw me, and broke into a smile. I'd grown a mustache and goatee since she last saw me. More muscle, too, thanks to farm work. "Wow," Karen said. "Nice surprise. I love the look. What brings you here?" "Well, dinner with my girlfriend and her daughter for starters," I said, winking. "Amber, thanks for setting me up." Right then, Meadow arrived. "Hope I'm not late?" she said, sliding in. Work ran long. Over dinner, I explained the project. The new tractor would run on natural gas. If it passed testing, farmers could build cheap refill stations on their land. Cleaner, cheaper, more efficient. It could change the market. Just before dessert, Amber asked, "Are you two hoping to settle in South Dakota before school starts?" Karen nodded. "That's the plan." Amber leaned in. "How far is Vermilion from the farm?" "About 30 miles, Karen said. Amber grinned. "Good. I got into the MBA program at USD. Can I live with you? Otherwise, I'll stay with Uncle Joseph. It's cheap and close to home." Karen blinked back tears. I reached across and took her hand. "We hoped you'd want to," I said. "The new 4-bedroom house will be done next month. Pick your room colors." "You planned for us?" Meadow asked. Karen nodded. "We hoped. But we wanted you to choose. If I pushed, you'd blame Colin." "How'd you figure that?" Amber asked. "Colin asked if I trusted you to make your own choices," Karen said. I said yes. "Then let them," I added. "Your bond with your mom's stronger than with your dad." Amber studied me. "That first night, you sized us up. You knew we'd come, didn't you?" I shrugged. "Amber, I knew you'd go for more schooling. Meadow was the question, but when she brought up respect, I knew." Karen smiled. The hardest part was trusting it would all work out. We finished dinner, Karen and I heading to a movie. Amber and Meadow went home. As we walked out, I caught Kendra's car pulling into the lot. She didn't recognize me at first. By the time she did, we were gone. Working on the barn had done me good. The pot belly was gone. I'd hardened up, looked younger, felt it too. I was peeling back layers I didn't know I'd buried. After the movie, I dropped Karen off and returned to the hotel, left a wake-up call for the morning. Security waved me in for the plant tour. This was the part I loved, seeing the finished machine, ready to prove itself. By the time the rest of the team showed up, I was already deep into testing. I'd found a couple of small issues, rerouted the feed line away from the heat, and documented everything for the report. When they saw me, they were surprised. And not just by the tractor, I looked different, healthier, stronger. The president showed up while I was working, watching me haul and push heavy loads through the mud bed. The machine handled like a dream. He laughed when he saw me. Jeans, white t-shirt, and a backwards ball cap, driving like I owned the thing. "Colin," he said, shaking his head, "you're still the man. You could probably flip this thing on its head if you tried." He leaned on the fence. "So first thoughts?" I wiped the sweat off and grinned. "If it survives me, it's one of the best we've built. Few small tweaks, but it's running smooth. Plus, it's burning less fuel than diesel." He stepped forward, offering a handshake. "Good to see you again, Pete." He smiled. "We'd take you back in a second. But looking at you, I get why you left. Where'd you find the fountain of youth?" He didn't know the trick. I always tested machines like I did my first truck. Treat it like junk until it proves it isn't. By day's end, I leaned back against the tractor. It held up, 1 down, 9 to go. It was pushing 8 by the time I dragged myself back to the hotel. I looked like hell, covered in dry mud from boots to ball cap. I spotted Carrie and David sitting in the lobby, Carrie rocking little Colin in her arms. Carrie caught sight of me first and stood up, walking straight over. "Hey, Dad," she said, giving me a once-over. "You're looking rough. You got time to talk or you beat?" I glanced at David, who gave me a little nod like we need this. "Yeah," I said, brushing mud off my sleeve. "But let me scrub the dirt off first." David stood and came over. I waved toward the elevators. "You two want to chill here or come up to the suite? It's got a kitchen. We can order up or eat down here. Doesn't matter to me." Carrie shifted little Colin on her hip. "Suite sounds good. We'll order while you clean up. We need to talk, like, really talk." So up we went. They got busy with room service while I hit the shower. As I was buttoning up a fresh shirt, my phone buzzed. Karen. I told her what was up, promised I'd call her back once this was done. Back in the living room, I cracked open the bottle of Crown Royal I brought along, poured us each a glass. The kids wanted soda, so I gave them just a splash, stirred it with my finger. Carrie didn't waste time. "Dad," she started, eyes fixed on the glass in her hand. "David and we've been through some serious crap the last couple months. What you caught on that recording, it blew up everything. I actually moved back home last week." David gave a small nod. Carrie went on. "Mom's been talking about her other relationships for years. We honestly thought you knew, like it was some open marriage thing you two had worked out. She made it sound like you were fine with it, like you didn't care anymore." I clenched my jaw, but kept my voice steady. I didn't know, Carrie sighed. Yeah, figured. Truth is, she sold us that story about you two having different drives, different needs. I was buying it till all this, David chimed in, looking like he'd aged 5 years. We were damn near done, Mr. Walker. Couldn't get past it. Carrie even took a polygraph. Neither of us trusted where we were headed. I nodded. Look, I hope you both know you've been dealt a bad hand here. That's going to take time to work through, but if you're both serious about fixing it, you've got a shot. Just don't try to patch it up with bullshit. Carrie cracked a small, sad smile. I reached over and took little Colin into my arms. The kid settled against my shoulder, soft as can be. David, I said, grab my phone. Take a picture for me, will you? He did without a word. Carrie kept going. I realized I was acting like Mom, justifying everything, thinking it was normal. Turns out, it's not. I didn't even see it till I stopped to really think. I hate it. It's like I didn't even know who I was becoming. David spoke up, voice low. I'm starting to see someone different too. And I think we've got more than just a slim chance to make this work. I leaned back, bouncing Colin gently. It takes work and honesty. And sometimes someone outside the family to help sort the mess. Don't be too proud for that. I paused. Your mom? She let other people, other voices, screw with her head till she threw out everything we built like it was trash. And yeah, I'm sure she's still blaming me. Carrie snorted. She is. I told my sisters flat out. I'm done listening to Mom twist this crap to make herself feel better. I got a marriage I'm not ready to lose. We fought about it. I told them when they finally pull their heads out of their A, then maybe we can talk. David chuckled nervously. Room service knocked. We let them in, plates clattering on the table. Over dinner, Carrie asked, You on some diet or something? You're looking fit. I laughed. Nah, just been working with my hands again, not sitting behind some desk, wasting away. Feels good. By 10, they were getting ready to leave. Carrie hugged me tight and whispered, I like this version of you, Dad. I chuckled. Yeah, well, turns out there was more of me left than I thought. I just needed the old life to clear out so I could find it. Later that night, I texted Karen to see if she was still up. She was, so I called and told her about the day. People say time heals all wounds. It doesn't. It just teaches you to live with them. Faith and Hope were learning that the hard way. Tuesday night around 7, I walked into the hotel lobby. There they were, my two youngest, waiting for me. First thought, Kendra had sent them. I was right. Back in my suite, they went straight at me, accusing me of abandoning their mother. In their eyes, I was the coward, not her. They admitted their marriages were over. Just like mine, their husbands couldn't handle them being modern women, as they put it. I'd had enough. I called security. The security guys walked in, took one look, and asked, You want them out, sir? I nodded. Out the back, please. Faith and Hope left crying, humiliated. As they went, security told them not to return. I heard one guard mutter, We don't need that kind of company in here. I called Karen later. She couldn't stop laughing. They'll be thinking about that one for a while, she said. Without love, someone always pays one way or another. Mind if I tell Amber and Meadow? Go ahead, I said. Might as well light the fuse. A couple of hours later, Carrie called. Well done, Dad, she said. They came here bawling. It finally hit them. Their choices stink just like everyone else's. They didn't give me a chance to explain, I said. Didn't want one. All they cared about was making sure I was the villain. They'll see it, Carrie said. David and I did. He actually liked how you handled it. We're starting to get it now. How did Mom convince us it was all okay? Faith and Hope are hurting bad. It'll take time. I kept it simple. Carrie, did you ever stop to think about what it did to me, or did you only think about yourselves? Carrie went quiet. Then she said, Mom painted it all in soft colors, made everything seem fine. We couldn't see the truth until it all blew up. That's how most people live, Carrie. They never question what's right in front of them. She asked, What's different about you? You're learning it now, I said. It's called thinking. Welcome to my world. Sorry you had to take the hard road here. The next night, I went to Karen's for dinner. Amber and Meadow wanted to start planning the move. Over dinner, I shared what Carrie had told me. Afterward, we did the dishes together. I washed, the girls dried. Felt like old times. Until they caught Karen and me stealing a kiss. Amber grinned. Busted! Meadow rolled her eyes. You two are worse than teenagers. We all laughed. It felt like life again. It was close to 8 when Karen and I settled into a quiet table at this small restaurant down by the pier. Candlelight, the smell of fresh seafood, soft waves outside, the kind of night you try to make special. We were sipping our drinks, just getting comfortable, when I caught the unmistakable sight of the twins walking in. Before I could duck or pretend I didn't see them, the host showed up at our table. "Excuse me," he said, looking a little nervous. "Your daughters noticed you missed their wave. They were wondering if you'd mind them joining you." I hesitated. Truth was, I wasn't sure I wanted them anywhere near this dinner. Karen gave me a soft nudge under the table. "Say yes," she whispered. "You may not like them right now, but you still love them. They're your girls." I let out a breath. She wasn't wrong. "Yeah," I said, standing up. "Sure, bring them over." I slid into the booth beside Karen. A minute later, Faith and Hope walked over. You could see it all on their faces. Nerves, regret, stubbornness still hanging on. They sat down like kids waiting for the principal. I didn't sugarcoat it. "Faith, Hope, this is Karen. She's not just my lawyer, she's my girlfriend. If you're here to tear into me again, just save it and walk out now." Faith glanced at Hope, then back at me. "No, Dad, we deserve that." She rubbed the back of her neck, looking everywhere but at me. "We had a long talk with Carrie Tuesday night. She didn't hold back. Kind of kicked our A, honestly." Hope nodded. "Yeah, we went over there thinking she'd back us up. Instead, she wrecked us. Laid it all out, told us how we looked, how we acted, how ugly it all was." Faith's eyes started to well up. "She said we were basically being paid off like hookers. Not for sex, but for playing along, living Mom's version of the story, getting perks for staying blind." Hope added, "And the worst part, we realized she was right. We weren't even surviving like people who gotta do what they gotta do. We did it because it was fun, because we thought we were untouchable. It hit different after Carrie said it." Faith leaned forward, voice lower. "When we got home, we cornered Mom. It blew up fast. She said we'd been brainwashed by your conservative bullcrap." Hope scoffed. She straight up said, "So what if people get hurt? They should toughen up. The only crime is getting caught." She went on about how even politicians do worse and walk away clean. Faith shook her head. "She's got no shame, Dad, still doesn't. But we finally saw it for what it is. We're teachers. We tell kids right from wrong every damn day, but we've been living like none of it applied to us." Hope took a breath. "So, we found a place, a small 2-bedroom, furnished near the school, cheap enough. We signed a 6-month lease. Figured it's time to figure out who we are without Mom whispering in our ears." Faith's voice cracked a little. "We're moving in tomorrow. Mom's too busy schmoozing at some political thing anyway. When we saw you tonight, we knew we had to say something. We were wrong about all of it, about you." Hope nodded. "And we get why you didn't confront us. It would have just been 4 against 1. You knew we had to see it for ourselves." I took a deep breath. "Sometimes the only way through is letting people fall on their own," I said quietly. "Truth is, you were already forgiven. I saw how much of your mess was just you following your mother's lead. Kendra, I'll forgive, but I'll never trust her again." I slid my phone across the table. "Put your numbers in, and take mine." They both did without hesitation. Hope glanced at the screen. "Dad, this is a South Dakota number?" I smirked. "Yeah, moved back to the farm." Faith lit up like a kid. "No way, Grandpa's farm?" Karen raised an eyebrow. "You two know the place?" Hope laughed. "Know it? We lived there every summer growing up. Learned to drive on Grandpa's old tractor. Dad made sure we went every year till we got too cool for it in high school." Faith added, "We never even got a single call from Mom while we were there. Grandma used to say Mom was the shallowest woman she ever met." Karen chuckled. "I can believe that." Faith leaned in. "So, Dad, what brings you to town? And Karen, can we get your number too? Just in case." Dinner shifted. It wasn't heavy anymore. It felt like family. We laughed, shared stories, talked about the new house Karen and I were building. Turns out the twins were curious about Karen's daughters too. Then, right in the middle of dessert, Hope's phone buzzed. She read the text out loud. "Having dinner with Dad and his girlfriend Karen. Faith and I will swing by later to explain everything." Later that night, Karen and I walked the pier, just taking it in. "I'm surprised," she said. "You stepping back forced them to sort it out themselves." "My dad always said, give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves," I replied. If I'd stayed, it would have been 4 against 1. Instead, they turned on each other. Their own sense of right and wrong did the work. Karen nodded. Evil only works if someone's willing to carry it out. Most people just blame others. You were the scapegoat. I couldn't go along with it, I said. I wouldn't. That's what makes you solid, she said. You don't bend just because you're outnumbered. Meanwhile, Kendra came home after a long political event wanting to patch things up with the twins. Their last argument had been ugly. Too much of their father's backbone showing through, and she couldn't stand it. She tossed her purse on the counter and spotted 2 keys and a note. We've moved out. We don't like who we've become. Good luck. We blocked your number. Faith and hope. Later, Carrie found her staring at it. I haven't heard from them since Tuesday, Carrie said. Since Dad had security toss them out of the Hampton. Kendra turned. He threw them out? Why? They went after him hard, Mom. Called him a coward. Blamed him for everything. He listened for a bit, then said, I'm done, and called security. Carrie smirked. Security thought they were hookers. Showed them the back door. That's not funny, Kendra said, shaken. When they showed up crying, they told me everything, Carrie said. Want to know what I told them? Kendra hesitated. Maybe, Carrie shrugged. I said, when those men were whining and dining you, you weren't special. You were just getting paid early. Kendra's face went blank. Tears followed. She knew. She saw it plain. In that moment, she realized the truth. She would never face Colin again. Not as an equal, not as a partner. What Carrie said was his truth, and it broke them all. No one could spin it. It was simple. Those romantic weekends with her friends with benefits were nothing more than paid services. Without saying it, Colin had already told the world, and left her to sit with it. It took her weeks to fully process it. The truth wasn't that he left her. It was that she had left him long ago by who she'd become. The twins were proof of that. No man could stay after seeing it for what it was. If the truth got out, she was done. And Colin knew it. Yet by walking away, he left her with something she never gave him, her dignity. Now, even her daughters were pulling away. Kendra realized it too late. There was no scapegoat left. She looked around the house. It felt too big, too empty, too full of reminders. She'd tell herself she was selling it for practical reasons, but she knew better. Karen and I returned to her house after a night out. A few drinks, a little dancing. We passed out on the couch without a care. Amber and Meadow didn't waste the moment. They snapped a few photos and sent them straight to Faith and Hope. Minutes later, the phone rang. The 4 of them were already planning something. One even tossed a blanket over us like kids tucking in their parents. I woke up to find an angel asleep in my arms. Karen looked peaceful. I glanced at my phone. Past 7 a.m., we'd crashed around 1. Meadow sat in a chair, watching us. I guess I better get used to this, she said with a grin. Mom looks happy. I'll make coffee. About an hour later, the 4 of us sat around the kitchen table, sipping coffee, just talking. Then the girls dropped a surprise. By the way, Karen said, acting casual, our side of the family's coming this afternoon for a little get-together. Karen and I jumped into action. I checked the grill, topped off the propane. She got dressed and threw together a grocery list. We stopped by my suite so I could shower and clean up, then headed to the grocery store. As we were walking in, Kendra was walking out. Kendra stopped right in front of me, arms crossed, trying to sound calm, but looking like hell. Colin, let the girls know I'm selling the house, she said flatly. If they want anything, Carrie still has a key. Since none of them are speaking to me, they can swing by while I'm at work and grab whatever. Same goes for you. I didn't even flinch. I'll pass it along, I said. Karen will handle anything for me. I'm giving her power of attorney. I met her eyes. And as for me, I already took what mattered when I left. I'm only in town for another 6 days. Kendra gave a little nod, like she wasn't sure if she wanted to say more or just walk away. In the end, she turned and left, heels clicking down the aisle like nothing was wrong. Karen and I stood there for a second before pushing the cart down the next aisle. Awkward, Karen muttered under her breath. We kept shopping, both of us quiet until I broke the silence. Something's off with her, I said. She's not just cold. She looked rattled. You think it's the twins moving out? Karen asked. I shook my head. Nah, she's used to being alone when the girls were off doing their thing. This is different. She loves that house. Selling it? That's not like her. Something hit her harder than she's letting on. Karen glanced over at me. You still care what happens to her? I sighed. Not like that, but I know her. and I know when she's hiding something. During the barbecue, Karen and I found out what the twins had written to their mother and what Carrie said afterward. All 5 girls got along like they'd known each other forever. David and I mostly watched from the sidelines while the women caught up. Amber and Meadow couldn't get enough of the little Colin. Later, I told my daughters about the run-in with their mother at the grocery store. David smirked. I called dibs on the big plasma TV. Carrie just rolled her eyes. I couldn't help but laugh. The first 2 family get-togethers had gone better than I could have hoped. After the girls left and we finished cleaning up, Karen and I settled on the porch with a couple of cold beers. "So," Amber said, "Faith and Hope cut ties with your ex, at least for now, to figure out who they are without her." Karen frowned. "Why would they do that?" "They followed their mother's lead," I said. "Got caught up with friends with benefits. Cost them both their marriages. It took me leaving Kendra for them to see it. Last week they showed up ready to blame me. I threw them out. Later, Carrie told them straight. When your friends with benefits were whining and dining you, you were being paid in advance." Amber blinked. "Seriously?" David spoke gently. "Your mother and I were taught early. It's not just about how you see yourself. It's about how others see you. People read your actions, not your intentions." Karen leaned against me. "Exactly. That's why Colin's choices hit harder than anything he said. The twins realized they needed to step back and figure out who they really are. I'm proud of them. They've started healing," I added, "because they got honest." The words sank in. No one said much for a moment, then Amber grinned. "You're going to make a great dad." Karen lost it, laughing and crying all at once. The rest of the week was quiet. Karen and I made the most of the time. The new tractor passed every test. The president was thrilled. I called it Beta. Before I left, we had one last family gathering. The twins grew closer to Karen's daughters. Karen barely let go of little Colin. Karen and Eric settled their divorce. She offered him the house. He took it, hoping to win back the girls. I flew home the last week of August. The new house stood ready, the old one torn down. The barn was fixed up, the driveway rebuilt. Uncle John drove me to the airport. I'd returned driving a U-Haul. Karen sold her practice. Her associate would finish the divorce. Deliveries kept coming to the farm. Uncle John helped set up the furniture. The extras went to Goodwill. Neighbors pitched in. That Friday, Karen met me at the airport with Amber and Meadow. I kissed her, dropped to one knee, and proposed. The girls filmed the whole thing. Amber and Meadow had arranged a celebration dinner. All 5 daughters and David showed up. We danced most of the night. At Karen's house afterward, Meadow stopped us. "Wait in the car." They came back with a bag. "Suites booked," Amber grinned. "You're not coming home till Monday." At the hotel, we found champagne, chocolates, and a note. "Congrats from your 5 daughters. We didn't leave all weekend." Monday, we picked up the U-Haul. "Why is it so big?" I asked. Karen smiled. "You'll see." Faith and Hope showed up later. "We're moving east," Faith said. "We got hired near Vermilion." Karen gave them some furniture. We loaded the truck with what they took from Kendra's house. They rented a 3-bedroom, so Amber would have a place during storms. I dropped the suit against Eric after he agreed to cover the court costs. By late September, Karen and I finalized the divorces. On the last Saturday of October, we married with the whole family there. Carrie and David came with little Colin. Then Karen surprised everyone. "To my husband and to all of you, we're expecting in May. We don't know yet if it's a boy or girl.